Hey, welcome to our Hannyabal video. I wonder if it should be said with an accent. I don't know. Hannibal. But with that being said, we actually have like two Hannibal builds. And due to our recent adventures using purple, right? With the different purple leaders we've been working on, we have like this particular set of epiphany, where it's like, what if ramp was the actual key? What if the developers was expecting us to ramp like as fast as possible? Because I don't know if you guys be thinking the way I be thinking, but it's like sometimes you know how we feel like a card is overbalanced, and then like maybe in the future we understand, oh, this was actually like way better. It's just now we reached a certain condition in the meta where it just, you know, it's like perfect. It's like what's that? Ice Age and Great Eruption, right? Technically, those are always as strong as they've been, right? In a technical sense. But it was like the pieces around it made us like look at these cards as, oh, this kind of trash, right? And then we use them. And then, they get made to look broken now because the combos. And then all of a sudden, combos that already existed, right? It was like, oh, I could have been doing this. Now all of a sudden, it's like no matter what the deck, Great Eruption is a staple now. A card that we was seeing zero play. Now it's just a staple across the board for black decks, and Ice Age is a staple across the board for black decks. So you look at I remember Ulti, what am I doing? Okay, one thing I wanted to comment on, I like how the opening hand was where we got to keep ramping and develop the domino and got to keep the domino on the board. So I thought that was cool. And as you can see, we got our Ivankov and Inazuma on the board. But where was I? Okay, so let me finish the ulti thought. So there was an ulti that came out. I think it's a hollow, and it's a 2-drop, no counter. And when you play it on play, you can rest a Dawn to gain a Dawn, a rested Dawn. And it comes off as trash, right? It really does. It comes off as trash. But thanks to Utah, to be honest, thanks to Utah, it was just like, huh, if you find the ability to ramp ahead by one turn, it just dramatically changes the game. Dramatically changes the game if you can just ramp ahead by one turn. So, yeah, everything changed. So now my views on purple, all the pre-existing cards that are there, I'm like, okay, what, it changes the meta for like a lot of decks now. So that's what we've been experimenting with. And Hannibal and Yuta, to me, are like the best rampers at the moment. Or you could throw Purple Luffy in there. He's just risky. But yeah, those two are like the best rampers at the moment, in my humble opinion. And they just make it easy to ramp ahead a turn, so you can really drop some early game shenanigans. And with the Hannibal deck, we have like two decks, right? Like a purple variant and a blue variant, because earlier in our test builds, we feel like merging the two a little too much doesn't help, right? So it's kind of, you got to lean on one ample down color versus the other. So what you're seeing here is us leaning on the blue variant over the purple variant in this build. And yeah, it's basically try to rush to get up ahead in one a turn, right? And then just start Vankov dropping or Sanji dropping, and just start flooding the board. So a turn early, you get access to like a 7k or two 7ks, depending on like what your combination is. 7k, 6k, blah blah blah, yakety yak. No, I think it's all 7ks with Ivankov, right? Okay, cool. So yeah, you ramp ahead one turn, and then it's like boom boom, two 7ks or a 9k plus whatever you top deck. So yeah, we just got a purple variant, and we got the blue variant. So what you're seeing here is our blue variant. And yeah, I offer that. I don't know if people are already on that wavelength, but I think if you, oh, we just ditch an Ivankov, and I guess we could ditch the other Ivankov, right? Summon the Inazuma, and then it's perfect. What a top deck! What a top deck! In that one play, blind, right? Unless I missed a Perona, unless I wasn't paying attention. But like, Here we get an Ivankov and an Inazuma and just end up with 4 cards in hand. Sensational. Anyway, we got counter power for 1. We got a blocker. We got 2 blockers, as a matter of fact. And then next turn, it's a problem for the Croc. I ain't gonna lie to you. Next turn, we just gotta keep our Don up, and it's a problem for Croc. Decisions is being made. Okay, cool. Dag. I mean, aside from them just being a blocker, ramping is useless with the Miss Wednesdays. Yeah, I'll go for a block with this one. Ooh, we get to look at the top cards of our deck and rearrange them as we prefer. There's no point in using Luffy's ability, to be honest. What we could do is attack and see how far we get, and then if there's only 1 blocker left, we could use Luffy's ability. Yeah, I would essentially attack 7k, put some Don, 7k swing. I think that's what I'll go for. So yeah, so with that in mind, maybe it might help others. I was talking about wavelength, right? I don't know if people was like, oh, there goes the play. If people was like on that same wavelength, like let me try to ramp 1 turn ahead and then start my shenanigans. But what do you call it? Yeah, if you guys are feeling it, then yeah, I would recommend whatever purple build. Not whatever purple build. Everything is situational, right? But try a build where it's like you just figure out a way to get 2 Don before you really start shenanigans. That put the opponent in a really bad position. I ain't gonna lie to you. 10k they got a counter out of. Oh, they just understandable. Or they had the Akama way thingy. They could have did that. But it doesn't matter. The way the board state was, and then we had 2 defensive events in our hand. I couldn't see them turning that around. All right, so we're up against Green Yuta. Did I lose my train of thought again? Well, y'all got the picture. Find a way to get to Don before the shenanigans, and then play, and it might change how a lot of older purple decks behave. It might actually change things for them. And then, but there are some purple decks, because we're working on a Kaido deck. It might be a little different. I'm not too sure if rushing to Dawn is going to be the way for that one. I don't know. But in the world of deck creating, you end up having like 3-4 decks, and they're the same deck, but they have their subtle difference, right? And you just have 3 different Kaidos or 3 different whatever saves. So y'all know, if you guys be building decks, y'all know how it is. You just can't help but to just like have so many of the same deck saved, just because it's like all these different subtle ideas, all these different tree branches that you're going. All right, so we are at 4 Dawn. Yuta's making a decision. Okay, we get a Nico and a Jinbei summon, and they're using low drops in this. I guess they want to be slightly more aggressive and swarm the board. And you know what? You know what I'm thinking? It might be a scenario, right, where because Green Yuta is known to just get a lot of cards in hand, making them very vulnerable to cards that remove cards from hand, like the pudding puts it back in the deck, the law such and such, lose 2 cards, yada yada. That maybe they're going with this type of build so they can just kind of spend all resources and flood the board and just be more oppressive. That's just my assumption. But as you see, we get a nice, none of these leader abilities matter, right? Be careful. I don't think you want to bounce back, or do you? But yeah, overall, Yeah, so you guys could see the benefit of being able to rush into an Ivankov double summon. You know, like you get it. We managed to get a turn ahead of the game, and now we just developed 2 7Ks, and the opponent now has to catch up to that. Yeah, I think that's what this Yuta is going for. I think they're just going for like an oppression build. Okay, so we're gonna keep that Perona, I'm sure, so we can set up for a nice Sanji play. Oh, nope. That was a lie. Okay, so with Mr. 3, it can guarantee our hand size to be like, you know, at whatever level we want it to be. If we summon in Mr. 3, I would definitely put Don or Perona and swing at the Jinbei. And yeah, you should still have enough Don to okay, we're gonna use our leader. We're gonna do a 2K difference to guarantee it off the board. I mean, nothing was a guarantee, right? But it's already a 2K difference, so we're going with a 3K difference. So yeah, I guess we're just prioritizing removing cards off the board. So in this situation, we no longer have enough Dawn to play Sanji, right? We gave up on that. No need for any of them. There we go. Our hand is looking pretty decent. Hey, if we did play Sanji, we would have got a Luffy play out of that. Ain't that funny? Oh, they rested our blocker. I really felt like that Yuta over defended last turn. I really felt like that. You got all that life, you chucked all those cards, but I guess you feel confident that you're just gonna get the cards back. Now we are weak on counter power, but we do have Hell's Judgment. It's kind of perfect. It guarantees stops one attack and is now forcing their leader to put more Dawn on their leader if they want to get a swing. Oh, they just wanted to draw. Okay, that's fine. Either that or they wasn't paying attention. One or the other. Like, I wouldn't be mad at them if they wanted to get the draw. And they're saving 3 down up, so I'm confused. Maybe there's a defensive event that they're holding on to. But right now, what can we do? Okay, we're just going to bombard them with attacks. And I'm guessing the 3 down up is just a bluff at this point. And we draw 2. See, that Inazuma is fantastic. And I really think almost any blue deck can just use it. Because it just allows you to really like be more defensive and stuff. To be more comfortable playing defense and chucking counter power out of your hand. Because as long as you are at 2 or less, you're going to draw 2. So it always tries to help keep you at like 3 to 4. Or no less than 2, I should say, right? It's a card that tries to just help you have no less than 2 cards in your hand. You always just draw 2 free cards, a continuous pot of greed. So I would love to see that Inazuma just as a staple in multiple blue decks. Okay, so our Luffy, what's the cost of that Sanji? Oh, we're going for it. I know it's a hard debate, right? Because it's like a rusher. Now, if they want to keep both their life cards, they're going to have to expend a lot of cards out of hand. Or they block. It's probably smarter to block, right? Okay, they let it die. I was going to say block and then chuck to save. What are we doing? Oh, so we definitely want to set up for the Sanji next turn. Oh, yeah, we kind of are. Okay, so Inazuma's gonna make us draw 2, so we could put 2 cards that we want to. Well, the top 3 have to be cards that we want to draw. So that Vonkov actually needs to be the 4th card in line. And it just so happened it's not gonna end up that way. You know what we could have did? Oh my god. So yeah, I'm sure it was a misplay overlooked by the player. But because there's another Sanji coming up, we literally could have just set the Sanji as one of the cards, right? We're gonna draw 2, then draw. So Sanji would be draw 2, then draw for turn. So Sanji would be 3, and Ivankov would still be 4. We draw 2 for Inazuma, then we draw the Sanji. Oh, the reason why I'm saying all this is because we can attack with Mr. 3. So we can actually get an extra attack with Mr. 3, then discard this Sanji to restand our Mr. 3. See? So now I'm sure the player is aware that they didn't organize the top set of cards properly. But yeah, we could have got a swing with Mr. 3. It's not necessary. There's too many cards. Mr. 3 would just, took one extra card out their hand. But yeah, we could have swung with it, restood it, and then just drew into the next Sanji and did the shenanigans. Okay, block with Mr. 3. And it's probably good to block because, it didn't really matter. We red rock the Luffy. So we were technically put in a position where we wasn't really going to be able to use Sanji anyway. And since they have no life, we could bounce the blocker if it means that much. I wouldn't have chucked Ivankov. Because next turn you could just play it, right? So 2, 4, 6 cards out of hand, mandatory. That's a lot of cards. 7K is a wonderful number to swing for, especially with no down attached. Oh, GG. Subscribe.